Hey, Rubiconians, welcome back to Miku's Crackhouse. This is episode 107. I'm your host, as always, Sam Kingma, and joining me is my best friend and co-host, Myles J. Myles, Armored Core 6 gameplay? You see it?
No.
No? You didn't see it?
I'm interested. Here's the thing. I'm interested in Armored Core, but I'm working very hard at the moment. Like no distractions, working hard. There was a state of play for Final Fantasy 16. Really looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. It's like, other than Tears of the Kingdom, and Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Final Fantasy 16 is like the only other like big 2023 game that I'm really like, oh my god, I cannot wait. Like this is so some games are just important to you to play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, some people it's like, okay, new FromSoft game, like, this is important to me, right? For some people, the Cyberpunk DLC, really important to me. Like, there are some games that you're interested in or looking forward to, really want to play Pizza Tower, like a Hi-Fi Rush, like, oh, that's interesting, I'll check it out. But, like, Tears of the Kingdom or, like, Final Fantasy 16 are important to me. But when I say that I'm working hard, there was a 25-minute presentation on Final Fantasy 16 with, like, a ton of gameplay and a ton of, like, story stuff, and I didn't fucking watch it. I couldn't. Yeah, I was too busy. That's where I'm at.
Let me ask you this, Myles. Do you even, like, want to see that shit anyways about FF16? I mean, you're going to get the game anyways, you know?
You know what? Like, it's really important for me to know the kinds of, like, minutia of a game, or, like, the minutia of, like, how a game is supposed to work. It's really important for me to, like, know, like, the basics. Like, I was gonna get Tears of the Kingdom if they showed nothing from Tears of the Kingdom, if they were just like, yeah, we shadow dropped it today, I would be like, done. This is my life. But like, it was important to me to answer a couple questions about, like, you know, okay, what are they going to do about the inventory system or the weapon breaking system? You know, things that were controversial and needed some rethinking. Like, the big thing for me, and I didn't watch a lot of the Tears of the Kingdom gameplay that IGN and Nintendo Life and all these outlets uploaded.
The new gameplay from, like, this past week. Yeah.
From the event this week. But, like, the thing I'm most curious about is, how are they handling the menu? Like that's how, like, deep into the Breath of the Wild, like, I love Breath of the Wild. I think it's an incredible, like, even with Tears of the Kingdom, I think that we're never going to get it, like, a version of Zelda, or really, like, any game outside of, like, a Death Stranding that's, like, that focused on, like, nature and, like, really crafting and bringing nature to life as this very, like, systemic, like, nature is the whole game. So, like, even something like Tears of the Kingdom, a direct sequel in the same world, is not going to be the same game. Just philosophically and mechanically and systemically, completely different focuses. But, like, that's how, like, deep into, like, the Breath of the Wild, like, love I am, though, where I'm at that point where I'm, like, criticizing, like, the tiniest little things where I'm like, this has got to go. The menu system, like, on the one hand, it allows for item cancels and shield jump canceling, which allows for this tech and this tech. It allows you to do, you know, like, ladder chains with sun shrooms. Like, I'm at that level where I'm, like, thinking about all this shit, but I'm also like, but on the other hand, it also affects the battle. So, like, a lot of people are like, oh, when are they going to show a dungeon? I need to see the dungeons. I'm like, when are we gonna see the pause menu? I gotta know. So, like, with FF16, I'm like, a big part of me is like, okay, well, how are we interfacing with, like, what's the magic system like? How are we interfacing with, like, is there commands, or, like, do you equip abilities? Like, I'm interested in, like, getting a theoretical picture of what the combat might look like, because that allows me to, even before I play the game, start thinking about how I might want to play the game or what possibilities I have. Like, I was just playing Breath of the Wild, and I was just thinking, like, shit, like, you could probably attach, like, I was just looking at all the objects throughout the overworld that could become a weapon with fusion in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, wooden boxes, tree stumps, or, sorry, not tree stumps, but, like, you know, cut down trees, felled trees, things like that. Like, I was just, like, going through the environment and, like, oh, that would make for a fun weapon. Like, so that's kind of the thing that I like with gameplay. So with this Armored Core thing, like, I know how Armored Core works. I get how Armored Core works. But, like, it's the changes and, like, the minutia. That's what I'm interested in seeing with things like this.
Yeah, with the gameplay trailer they put out today, I mean, they put out, like, a gameplay trailer in the realest sense of the term. So you're not really seeing any HUD elements or how it actually looks from when you're in a mission. But I was surprised because I woke up to record this show and hopped on my computer and pulled up Steam. And you know how Steam will send you that, like, you know, it'll send up a pop-up window with a bunch of, like, deals or new games or whatever. The first thing listed was Armored Core 6. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me wishlist that and have it on my Steam page. And I go and I see that it has a date for August 24th, 2023. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Okay.
I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm like going on the Steam page. I'm like, wait, are you serious? There's no gameplay? I'm like, there's still no gameplay? How often does that happen where a game gets a fucking release date in 3 months and we still don't see a lick of gameplay?
But then I went on YouTube. I remember this very specifically. Evil Within 2 was a shadow drop game. They announced it at E3. It was coming out in like September of that year. And it was just, we got one trailer for The Evil Within 2, and that was it. And the game turned out pretty solid. It's like that's like the picture perfect definition of like a 6, 7 out of 10 in the Myles Sam like rating system.
Yeah,
where, like that's
actually good.
Yeah, that's an it's good. That's an it's good game. That's not a. I mean, it's Evil Within 2 is it's good, verging on it's good. It's moment to moment. I don't know. Like the conception of the game is really good. I like the format of like the miniature open world. But, like, the actual horror mechanics, like, a lot of the things that they changed, like, it's a more straightforward system than Evil Within 1. Evil Within 1 is, like, it's ironic, they have the opposite issues. Evil Within 1's issues is the format. It's the linear campaign, Resident Evil 4 style, we'll get to that, campaign, doesn't really, like, help with the survival elements of the game with, like, all this crafting, like, the resource economy of kits and parts for bolts, the sort of like Evil Within is this great like game where it's really resource based, where you want to do the most with the least. So like matches and a shotgun shell are more effective than 5 rounds of ammunition to the head. Like it's a really interesting idea for a survival horror game where you want to constantly be hot swapping your weapons and using as few bullets as possible to do as much as possible. But the format sucks. It's this linear campaign that's just like nonsense. Like it just goes from place to place to place and nothing makes sense. And then Evil Within 2 is the opposite. It's in this open world. You can like build out your character and do all these side quests and find all these things. But then the mechanics aren't there from the first game. You can't build trap parts and like the way that enemies, there's no matches. So the ways, and diegetically it makes sense because the fear of fire was a whole thing with Ruvik and it's his mind, whereas this is Union. It's like a collective hive mind. So they wouldn't have the fear of fire. But the matches, like, just give me something like the matches. That's all I need. It has to be an identical system. It could be bullshit. It could be
can't
acid.
just take
I don't
it
give a
out.
shit. It's just gotta be the same, like, basic idea because that was a good idea for this open world format and it's not there, Sam. So, like, Evil Within 2 didn't show me that shit in the trailer. I didn't know until I started playing it, Sam, that there would be no matches.
Where's the matches? I got up to Evil Within 2 and was like, where's the matches? You don't have domestic beer? You don't have the matches?
I roll up and Evil Within 2, I was like, where are the matches at? They're not in the game. It's like going back to Demon Souls and being like, where's Estus? Or Bloodborne's a better comparison.
Where's the Estus?
Where's the Estus? I thought
or better yet, playing Dark Souls and being like, where's the grass?
Where's my half moon grass?
Hell yeah, I gotta grind it off the enemies. I gotta be able to get 9/9 of every grass type before I'm comfortable playing anymore.
I love Demon Souls.
I do too. That game is so funny because when you have never played Demon Souls, but you have 100+ hours in Dark Souls 1 and you have 200 hours in Dark Souls 2,
game, dude.
It's cute. It's actually like adorable. It's like, oh, look at what the fuck's his name? The King.
King Allant. False King
It's
Allant.
like, oh, look at False King Allant. Look how cute he is with his little 2-hit combo. And that super easy grab attack that steals your level if you're a loser. A big enough loser to get hit by it.
That's what's interesting about Demon Souls and why it's still compelling and worth playing is that like, for all the primitive aspects of it, the best comparison I can make is, like, Mega Man Legends. Like, one of these games where it's, like, the foundations are clearly, like, Mega Man Legends 2 is just a better game than Mega Man Legends, but it's not as cute. Like, there's all these weird oddities to Mega Man Legends. There's all these weird oddities to Demon Souls where, like, the reason to go back and play that game is that, like, there's all this cute shit that would just get kind of streamlined out or cut out. Like, Zelda 1, kind of a similar Zelda 1, Zelda 2. Like, if you're one of these fuckers, like, by the way, the madness in the word fuckers was so, like, real for me that I almost went a very different direction with that hardcore F word. Like that awakened, like, the COD lobby in me where I was just like I channeled South Park's definition of, like, people who roar their Harley Davidsons. I just almost went to, like, a very dark place and dropped that, and you would have had to censor it. But these fuckers
yeah, we're not
who
even
are, like,
15 minutes in.
Yeah, who are like, yeah, I won't, like fucking Arlo, the biggest fucking loser of all time.
Can we talk about this?
Yes. So I guess I'll talk about this a little bit, you know, because I'm working on a project, and I was writing the script, and I was like, this is fucking terrible. There is nothing more boring and, like, more disenchanting than writing a script in which you break down mechanics or game design, because it's so rote and it's so, like, uninteresting, and, like, it just sucks. It fucking sucks to go word by word and explain what makes a game so great. And like, once you're editing it and once you're delivering it, it feels better. But, like, writing it sucks, and it's a big block. And so Tom Turnstile, friend of the podcast, sent me a channel that you're going to know the name of, and I'm not.
Our HPR Shredder.
HPR Shredder. And he was like, this guy writes his notes, he gets in front of his camera, and he just goes slow, and he dictates it, and he goes, you know, and he doesn't write a script, but he still delivers a compelling video. And I was like, shit, I'll try that. Like, so I've come up with this kind of hybrid style of, like, I'll write out things that I can't improvise that are, like, really important to emphasize. Like, the really, like, beautiful, the Matthew Matosis line.
The
like,
pros.
Yeah, Matthew Matosis, the way that he puts it in his Breath of the Wild video of, like, there's the signal and the noise. Like, things like that are, like, you're not going to come up with that on the fly. And or you know, something that elegant. You might try and say puzzle elements in Breath of the Wild often have too much communication. It's like, no, the signal and the noise is perfect, and you need to, like, pre-construct that, and you need to know exactly what that's going to say. But anything that's a little bit more, like, descriptive, like, here it is, I'm presenting it to you, like, I can probably try and just go in with notes and, like, kind of improvise that a little bit, because I'm able to dictate these thoughts to myself and record them, and they sound great.
Yeah,
when I write them,
you're very
it's boring.
eloquent on the show when you talk about games and stuff. So
yeah,
it's
and so if I just sit, and it's, by the way, one of the most hellish, like, recording and it's especially, like, audio editing segments gonna be, like, 4 hours long, and I gotta find the good take. It's gonna be hellish, but it's better than writing. Like, to the point where I'm, like, done with the game. Like, the point where I'm like, I don't want to write about this. It's not fun. My enthusiasm's gone. But HPR Shredder does great. He's focused a lot on NES games mostly.
Yeah,
he's got a Dark Souls video, which is pretty good, but he's focused mostly on NES games. And he did a video about a very, very Crackhouse core video. We got to get him on the show now.
Yeah. Dude, he would totally do it.
Oh,
he would
absolutely.
Totally do it.
Yeah. Well,
I
you've
feel
been chatting with
saying.
him. You've been DMing with him, right? Yeah. So yeah, get him on the show. It's him and Gentle Breeze. We got to get them both on the show. Yeah, where he's talking about Metroid, like NES Metroid. It's a defensive NES Metroid, and how, like, these fuckers will make these videos like Geek Critique, where it's like Metroid NES, a frustrating foundation, or, like, you know, like Game Dude 8 will make his video called like
Game Dude?
Game Dude 8.
He is a game dude. He is so rude. He is a gamer with a bad attitude. He plays the games that make mankind ashamed. They insult the brain because they are so lame. That Game Dude?
No way. Is that real? Did you just throw that out? Did you just improvise that?
No, that's the real lyrics to Game Dude. You don't know Game? Oh my god, no. You don't know Game Dude?
No, I don't know Game
Dude is like the Chad irate gamer, dude.
Oh, okay.
He's like the, in my opinion, the best AVGN ripoff. Those videos were fucking awesome. They're not good, guys. They're bad videos, but they're really funny.
But they're funny.
Know?
Yeah. Just like AVGN, frankly.
No, I disagree. Those old AVGN episodes are fucking hysterical.
Well, no, but that's what you said. Like, they're not well produced, but they're funny. Unless you mean bad in a different way.
Oh, no, they're just like, how do I describe Game Dude? Game Dude was just like, again, they're nostalgic videos for me, very old internet, like old YouTube, angry game reviewer fucking content. But he reviewed shit like all the Banjo-Kazooie games, which is how I found out about Banjo GBA. And I remember he did a Kirby video, and he just like, he just shat on old Nintendo 64 era games, basically. And he's like, shit. And also like a weirdo in real life, if I recall correctly. Game Dude. Don't check him out, but watch some videos on him. He's interesting.
Okay, yeah, no, because AVGN, like, you watch those old videos and, like, you know, the quality, the production quality is not nearly as good as...
No, they're shot in 364 ADP, but I even still think, like, you gotta think at the time.
Oh, yeah,
like,
no, at the time he was doing, like, it's similar to Smashtasm, like, where, like, at the time, that level of quality was, like, massive for you.
Very high. Yeah, dude.
Like, going back to Smashtasm, like, the sheer, like, everyone's mic is different, like, but to a degree that kind of adds to the project, where, like, that's the online experience to an extent, where, like, Shippage, what Super 64 has, like, a great, like, he has great clean audio, Leap Fox has great clean audio, Greg has great clean audio, but then, like, Prince Rock has, like, completely fucked up audio, Pimpachu's audio, like, Pimpachu's like a child, the guy who plays whatever the Koopa character's name is.
Is it Killa?
Killa, yeah, like
Killa 7 or something like that?
No, it's not Killa 7. It might be Killa 7, but like, yeah, it's Killa something. He's the white whale of Smashtasm. Where like his mic is like clearly like really echoey and tinny and not great. But like the actual like production of Smashtasm, like from a classic standpoint, like for old YouTube, is amazing. And then you like try and rewatch it now, and it's like, oh,
bro, yeah, this is unfortunate. It's one of those things where it's like, I can still get through Smashtasm because it's the runtime's only like 30 or 40 minutes.
And it's great. Like, it's still really fun. Great. Yeah.
It's awesome. I fucking love, oh my god, I fucking love Smashtasm so much. But
Smashtasm 2 is terrible, though. Like,
garbage. The Brawl one? Yeah, that sucks.
Garbage. Well, the problem is that it was like peaked. Like, Smashtasm is kind of cringe, like in a very earnest way. Like, where Shippage clearly thinks this is, like, a good story. It's got some lame jokes, but, like, he was kind of trying to put in, like, a real plot to that, like, where it's, you know, it's a classic, like, I mean, it's basically, like, Drunken Masters or like, a, you know, like a classic, like, mentor-student story.
Yeah, use the cape. Use your cape.
Yeah. Use your cape. And he's like, well, if my, like, I remember that, how he resolves this, where he's like, you know, if regular Mario can use the cape, then Super Mario can use the cape to stay afloat. Like, you know, all these things when they
to hide under the stage.
Yeah, he hides under the stage and gets the drop on Gigabyte. Fuck, that show's so fucking fun, dude.
Shut up, my guy Lamp.
Oh, Lamp, dude. Well, that was Matt Vargas, right? Or whatever his name is.
Oh, shit, really?
No, I don't know if that's... Who is Matt Vargas? I'm trying to think, because I think that's the right name.
I have to look it up.
All I know is he did Life of a Shy Guy, which I watched a lot of as well.
Oh, he's like an old animator from back in the day. Last video he uploaded was 8 months ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, good for him. Yeah, like it's similar to like what's his face, Tom, whatever his name is, the animator who like now he does like video essays. Tomska. No, not Tomska. He did a series. It was basically an isekai series. Like the joke was that his character was like Zero Suit Samus, so he was in a girl's body the whole time, which would not fly today. No, it would actually. We're still cool with gender bend shit. We're still cool with gender bend shit. Everyone's fine with it.
Give it another 10 years.
Nah, dude, I
10 years.
think gender bend is kind of always going to be seen as like a foundational kind of important queer like story format.
Gender bent is here to stay.
Gender bent is here to stay, and you heard it first. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but like I think that people are kind of always going to be able to understand and appreciate gender bend.
Rom the one half. Your time is not today.
Rom the 1.5 is great. What's the there's a bunch of others, but what am I thinking of? It doesn't matter. Never mind.
But yeah, I want to get back to this HPR Shredder Metroid point.
Yeah, sorry. We went on a whole Smash-tasm journey. So he'll like, talk about these videos by people who are like, I don't know, 21 or like when they make them and they have no like 20 and under. Yeah. They have no love or appreciation for anything that isn't like that isn't like 5th gen or above like level game design, right? Like where they like I was talking about this in relation to like Zelda 2. When you know. Like there's a lot of cryptic elements of Zelda 2, but they're so like one and done. When you know. You never have to do it again, and you never have to know the trick again. You never have to learn it again. When you know. You only need to hear it once. And that's how a lot of these NES games work. And a lot of people are just like, yeah, if it's not told to me, it's a problem. There's no map, it's a problem. And so he quotes Arlo, and like this was the moment. Like I've always thought Arlo's like such a loser. Like he's just this fucking like 50-year-old man or whatever the fuck age he is, and like he just like every Nintendo anything, like he just has the most pessimistic, pointless view of it. Like Pikmin 4 looks like garbage. We've seen one trailer, but it looks like shit. And it's like, and then 10 fucking years later, he'll be like, at least Pikmin 4 had some integrity. Pikmin 5, on the other hand, like it's just like he's just such a fucking like trend chasing dipshit where like he'll just say whatever will get him fucking views that week. Like it doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't matter. When he got like mad about like the Super Mario 3D World ad that it was like too like whimsical and it didn't show like a bunch of adults playing the game because they were advertising a child's game to not just to children but like to preteens and teens. And that ad, by the way, fairly subtle. Like, it's just like, oh, you're playing the game, and like, oh, it's a platform rises above you. And it's like fairly subtle. It's not like all of them turning into cats like in the Wii U era where like that was cringy. Yeah. This one was just like, oh, the couch turns into a platform and it rises these kids into the air.
You're getting immersed in the world of the Mushroom Kingdom. It's a simple fucking commercial.
It's a simple commercial, and he's like, this was the kind of thing that killed the Wii U. And I was like, no, this is the kind of thing that killed yourself, Arlo. That killed your soul, Arlo. You fucking hack. Let's get him on the show.
Debate?
Yeah, it's like what we did with Croints. What we did with Croints. Crypt points where well, you didn't even debate them. Like
we just had a conversation.
Yeah, we just had a conversation. Like, and I was like, yeah, I was wrong. Your video was pretty fair, or your write up was pretty fair about my Godhand video, whatever. But we'll get Arlo on the show, so I can call him a loser to his face. But he quotes Arlo, and the quote is like the most Arlo thing I've ever heard in my life, where he goes, yeah, there's no reason to play Metroid 1. It has no map. Like, it's one of these things where he just, like, his critiques were like so surface level and stupid, where he's like, it's aged poorly, it has no map, followed by, I have not played the game, and I never will. And
that's the part right there that like kills me.
That's the part where I actually I felt rage. I felt genuine rage where I was like, what's his address?
Myles J wants to know your location.
And that's the thing, like, I'm not even like, I don't even love Metroid NES. I think it's a good game, but like I don't know. It's one of those, it's a similar like feeling that you have to like some game, I don't know, where you're like, no, I recognize that's a good game, but like you're sitting opposite of the guy who's like super duper about it. Like a Bayonetta type. Well, no, you don't even like Bayonetta.
I guess like Super Metroid. I guess would be a good
Super
example
Metroid's
here.
The perfect example where like we're kind of on opposite ends, where you're like, yeah, that's a good game,
that's good.
But like, but like you're sitting opposite the guy who thinks it's like fucking awesome, and like
top 10 greatest games of all time.
Vice versa, where I'm like, yeah, Metroid's good, I like that game, and you're like, that's the best one.
Yeah, it owns.
Yeah, No, that game, and I agree. It rules, and it's like that in Legend of Zelda slander, like NES Legend of Zelda slander, where I'm just like, the person who's saying this has just no personality, and they don't know anything, and they think they know a lot, and they belong in a cornfield shucking corn. It's the
just
only
such
thing
a
their
shame,
intelligence can do. Yeah,
because like, just play the game. I am begging you to just play the game, because a lot of like I was thinking about this with turn-based combat recently. I had this huge epiphany about turn-based combat the other day, where I was like, people just write off because let's be clear, ever since like YouTube and video sharing became like a major thing, people make their opinions on video games they haven't played by watching them. By watching them and watching other people play them and regurgitating other people's opinions from folks they trust. Or don't, in some cases.
In Arlo's case.
Yeah, in horrifying cases like that, where they just say it and then they actively admit to not playing it, which is like unbelievably
Which,
funny.
yeah, that level of bravado. It's like, I didn't know a puppet could have balls that big. Like,
imagine like if I just like hardcore drop some huge criticisms of like Tenet or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I never seen it. It's Rashad, what was it, Rashomon, right? It's like, yeah, Rashomon fucking mid, Rashomon too fucking long. I've never seen it and I never will.
It's well, there's a great the Red Letter Media video about Ghostbusters. They have 3 Ghostbusters 2016 videos, and all of them are really funny, but I think it's the half in the bag when they review the film, and they're talking about like the kind of like the sort of like pushed narrative that, like, you know, a bunch of like men babies fell into the clutches of Sony. Like they just couldn't fucking help themselves in criticizing this film, even though it was like, AVGN has the perfect video. Like, I love the original Ghostbusters. This I don't like the trailer, and I don't like remakes, so I'm not gonna see it. Like, just very calm and very polite. Whereas like a lot of these people are like, it's proof that all of our childhood heroes are going to turn into woke bullshit. But they show a quote by someone who, and it might be Captain Marvel. It might be Captain Marvel. Where he goes, "No one is willing to call this out for what it is. Feminist propaganda. Now, I haven't seen it." And then they just cut the clip right there. Like where his inflection goes, "Now, I haven't seen it." And like where, you know, that's going to be followed up, like and that inflection is in my brain forever because it's so funny. Where you just, that inflection, you just know he's going to say, "I haven't seen it, but," and they don't even let him get that far. They're like, "We're done. You've seen all you need to know. You get the point we're trying to make here with Captain Marvel or Ghostbusters or whatever bullshit that people got mad about. Wonder Woman, I don't know, one of those movies.
Saw Captain Marvel.
Yeah, saw Captain Marvel.
Did not see Captain Marvel.
That's the best criticism of Captain Marvel ever. Kojima's criticisms are so fucking good.
Because they're layered. They're layered in that, like, Japanese,
the
like,
Japanese
pleasantries.
stoicism. Yeah. And politeness. Like, he would get on YouTube and go, "Played Metroid."
But yeah, to the point I was making a couple minutes ago about the like turn-based games is like, people just see the gameplay for what it is, and they don't actually understand that when you play the game, it feels a lot more impactful than just like simple decision making, because of all the other elements. Because when you're actually like playing, you know, like Final Fantasy 1 or something on NES, that game, those battles come alive in your brain, despite literally taking place on a black background.
And it's not just that. Like a lot of these videos, they don't have the sound effects. They don't have like all the kind of elements that, like, when an enemy takes their turn and you hear and like the flash appears over your character and the screen shakes, and like you're just waiting for the bottom of the screen to tell you how bad it was.
Yeah.
Like, that psychological moment, which is completely, in my opinion, it's lost in the Pixel remasters. I have no and the GBA versions, and I have no problem with those versions. But, like, there is this, like, psychological moment of, like, when you take a hit in the NES version, like, you're just like, you know exactly what part of the screen you have to react to. It's the bottom part of the screen where the text is going to come up telling you exactly what just happened. And there is a millisecond of anxiety so deep and so real when you're like fucking 5 layers into a dungeon, you're fighting fucking Merilith or Carrie, and you know, you only have so many potions, your fucking healer's dead, and Carrie's hitting 5 or 6 times per turn, and you see her target your fucking fighter, the only one who has appreciable enough damage to get through the fight, and you just have to wait and see the impact of the hit. That shit is psychological. It's so good. And like, but you know, there's no music and you're just watching it passively and it's just footage. Like, people don't know. They don't know. And not only that, there's a lot of people who don't know how many interesting RPG systems exist. Like, that's why you have, like, fucking mongoloids like Donkey. And I respect Donkey's criticism of anything that isn't an RPG. I think that he's fairly astute otherwise. And he came around on Death Stranding, so based. But, like, or like Adam Sessler, where Adam Sessler's like, the only good RPG is Persona. Anyone who says the only good RPG is Persona 5 should be shot. Dead.
But like that speaks to exactly what I'm talking about, because what is Persona 5's like art, like JRPG shit has? It has a lot of like activity on the screen.
Yeah.
There's like a lot like of good visual stimuli, like way more than your average JRPG.
Yeah,
which is like, by the way, it like tricks people. Like,
that's all. Like Persona 5's like combat is very like whatever. It's elegant. It's elegant, but it's elegant in the same way that like Ocarina of Time's swordplay combat is elegant. You know, where it's like yeah, this is good. I understand that this is quality, but like Devil May Cry is just a better melee combat system. Obviously Devil May Cry, like the difference between like Shin Megami Tensei 4 for Apocalypse and 5 and Persona 4 and 5 is that, like, well, I mean, not quite, because Persona 4 and 5, they have the social elements. Ocarina of Time's got, you know, the puzzle-solving, exploration, story elements, whereas, like, Devil May Cry and SMT 5 is, like, that's, like, just the RPG experience, or just the melee combat. But, like, if Persona's RPG mechanics are good enough, like, they're solid enough, they're quality enough, like, they don't have to be at that level of, like, okay, every fucking turn in Shin Megami Tensei is, like, life or death. If I do this wrong, it's over. If I miss, it's over. Like, it doesn't have to be that level of, like, quality. It doesn't have to be, like, Trails, Cold Steel level quality. Because it has the social elements to fall back on. Like, that's what people don't fucking understand about JRPGs, is, like, it's the turn-based combat matters. Like, these systems matter. They made them to be as good as humanly possible.
Exactly. They're actually good. And also, a lot of these other fucking games also have good stories, like the fucking Trails series. You want to talk about fucking wanting to show up to someone's house, dude? Whenever I see someone be like, oh, Trails of Cold Steel, just a poor man's Persona, I'm ready to, I'm ready to light up, dude. I'm ready to, the nuclear fission reactor in my body is gonna set off when I hear that shit.
I'm wild. Like, that's it's, dude, like when you hear like what's a Game Over Greggy or whoever said that say like, yeah, it's just a poor man's Persona, that's you going,
I want to fucking cry. I just want to start hysterically bawling my fucking eyes out and screaming.
That's it. That's your Venom Snake covered in blood moment. Where you're walking down the hall, you've just shot everyone in the quarantine platform. You just get on your knees.
Huey Emmerich is telling me it was for the best, boss. You know,
no. Kaz is the one. Kaz is the one who says he has one of the best deliveries of his career when you shoot the first one and he goes, "That's it. That's good." Like, where, like, you can just tell, like, he's like, this has to be done, and it's breaking his heart. But Huey's like, boss, you just killed our men! Like, so whiny. Like, fucking Marie from Breaking Bad, where, like, the scene where Skylar's like, shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Like...
Oh, man. But yeah, it's just like, you know, if you actually gave it a chance, if you actually gave the story like 2 fucking seconds to hook you, because that's my problem with a lot of these fuckers, is they go into these games, and if it doesn't look like a Sony AAA first-party game, they're not even going to attempt to engage with the narrative in a remotely serious way at all.
And it's also a case of people, like, people are willing to, like, turn off so quickly. There was a great comment, because I'm always fascinated by Death Stranding discourse, especially, like, the way that, like, the tides have been turning on that game, like, in the last 4 years, like, where like, it's harder to find a negative opinion of Death Stranding nowadays than it was back then, where it was, like, all 50-50 and people were just willing to dunk on it. Because guess what? They gave the fucking game away for free, and lots of people played it for free, and they were like, oh, this is cool. Like, maybe they're probably not as enthusiastic about it as I am, but they're like, yeah, this is a solid game. Interesting. Kojima did some cool AAA game that's very different. Pretty sick. Like, that's kind of the consensus nowadays, is like, Death Stranding, pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a game that needs to be, again, another game like JRPGs that needs to be fucking played in order to understand why it's actually good or interesting. Because if you watch, like, gameplay, it's walking around!
Yeah, and people just are so, like, resistant to giving it a chance. But, like, even then, when people buy the game, they're resistant to it. Like, there was a comment under Don't Be So Serious, because I love that song and I listened to it, where someone said... once this song started playing, my opinion of the game turned around completely. I was ready to give up on it until this song started playing. And then someone commented, that's the first moment of gameplay when this song starts playing. Like, you almost gave up on the game at the opening cutscene. Like, you hadn't even started playing it. Like, and you almost gave up on it 8 minutes in when you hadn't even played the game. That's what you're telling me. Like,
Dude.
That was one of the most, like humanity's lost moments for me. Like, I feel this way every now and then when I'll just see, like, takes that are so fucking colossally stupid. Like, I feel this way with, like, a lot of Armored Core discourse. Where a lot of people are
what
like,
discourse have you seen about Armored Core?
Like with journalists being like, yeah, so what did you learn, you know, how similar is this to Dark Souls? And, like, FromSoft has to be like, oh, it's not similar in the slightest.
It's not at all.
Yeah, it's nothing like it. They're like, what lessons did you learn from Dark Souls? They're like, well, from a production standpoint, we learned how to do that, you know, we learned how to do, like, this in pre-production, or like, oh, well, we did a lot of prototyping, like, on Elden Ring, so we were able to do that to speed up the process on Armored Core. But, like, what these journalists are asking is, like, is this gonna show up? Like, that's what they mean, right?
Where's Estus? Where's my very specific Dark Souls combat?
Yeah. Where's
it's
grass?
like, no, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's like, no, it's gonna be something different, and, like, let them cook, man. Like, they made Sekiro and Elden Ring,
and you know what
back-to-back Game of the Year winners.
And,
like,
you know what sucks? Not quite back-to-back, but back-to-back enough. Back-to-back enough, especially for that company.
I mean, they were
back-to-back from each other. Yeah.
But yeah, back-to-back as far as development goes, not literal year back-to-backs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a case of, like Sekiro was so well received because it had the FromSoft je ne sais quoi, right? Like, Armored Core is probably going to tell its Armored Core story as an Armored Core story. It's probably going to play like Armored Core, and it's going to get 8s. It's going to get 8s and 8.5s and occasional 9s where people are going to say, yeah, it's good, it's just not as good as Dark Souls. You know, some 7s where some guy who only likes Dark Souls, similar to the Shin Megami Tensei 5 review, like someone who's like, as a Dark Souls fan, I really was excited to review this game, and it didn't live up to the like, and I said this
you know what's
before,
going to happen? It's going to get an 8 because it has an antiquated mission structure. I'm telling you right now.
Selecting it from menus as opposed to, like, you know, like,
being in an open world or something.
Yeah, being in an open world or being a linear progression. Yeah, like, selecting, you know, content from menus is not nearly as exciting, even though that was hard. It was an MGS5 and Death Stranding, you select them from a menu. you know, I don't fucking know. It's all bullshit, dude. It's all fucking bullshit. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my, that's just my takeaway from, like, all this shit.
I'm with you, dude. It frustrates the fuck out of me because, like, I give a shit about games because you play them, you interact with them. The interactivity of games is what immerses me and what gets me really into games. And I hate, and I'm really frustrated because I feel like with a lot of modern releases, this isn't all games. I'm not trying to generalize here, but I just feel like with most modern games, it's about like gameplay's like the 6th or 7th most important fucking thing to people, compared to like, oh, what's the story? Oh, what's the idea? What's the concept? Like, I feel like people give more shit about what they imagine a game is than actually fucking playing it.
The Tears of the Kingdom, everyone who's like, they haven't even shown a dungeon. And it's like, when has a Zelda trailer ever showed a dungeon? They don't do that. They never have and they never will. Like, they didn't show that shit for Breath of the Wild with the Divine Beasts. They didn't show that shit for Skyward Sword. Like, they don't show dungeons in these trailers. The only reason that people are about it is because Breath of the Wild didn't have, like, dungeons. It had dungeons, they just weren't what people wanted. And so people are always like, when are they going to show dungeons? They're never going to show dungeons. Those are surprises. They save them for you. Like, but people, like, even though we've seen... He straps a fucking rocket to his arm and flies in the air! And people are like, where's the dungeons? How can
dude,
you
that's
do
why
this?
exactly, dude, Flame Ghidra or whatever the fuck his name is.
Flame Gleeok.
Flame Gleeok's up in the air.
He's breathing fire down on a bridge and you're running from it in real time.
And you're running from it in real time thinking, oh man, I can't wait to get to a dungeon. Like,
yeah. Like, and by the way, I'm sorry, we've seen dungeons in these trailers. You're just stupid! You don't know how to read a trailer because you're stupid! You're so stupid!
Why do you even like fucking Zelda dungeons anyways? They're just fucking stupid block-pushing puzzles.
That's the
in
thing,
multi-floor, hour-long nightmares that aren't that interesting. Like,
that's the thing, like, we had Hyrule Castle. Like, Hyrule Castle is great. It's like, you weave in and out between it. Like, it's just challenge after challenge. Like, inside, every room is different, but then outside, it's like nonstop guardians, and it's awesome. And like, people are like, yo, where's the dungeons? And we've seen dungeons, by the way. We've totally seen dungeons. People just don't know or register them as dungeons, even though the part where Link is riding a minecart around the bend and there's a Zonai construct and a minecart across from him and he's stabbing him with a spear that he fused together from another spear, even though that's obviously a dungeon. People are like, where's the dungeons? What do you want to see Link fucking enter one? What do you want to see the fucking name of the dungeon? What do you need? A fucking giant stone fucking structure rises out of the sand in Gerudo Desert and you're like, where's the dungeons? There's the dungeon! There's the fucking dungeon!
you know, it's just, I'm totally with you, dude. Like, people are just so, they just are, they have an IP, gamers online get this idea in their head of what a game is. And if it doesn't exactly meet that image in their heads, it's like a problem. It's just automatically a problem. Like, they can't just wrap their minds around the fact that, like, Leon controls the way he does in Resident Evil 4 for a reason. He plays like this for a reason. To get you really close to the enemies. To make you feel fear as they, like, limp towards you, as the Los Ganados limp towards you, you know?
And it also makes him consistent in avoiding damage, because you can backstep everything. It's like minor inconveniences to your fucking comfort. Like, oh, I'm sorry you can't turn. We made it up to you by making the best fucking gameplay system ever. Like,
and it's like, and it's not, and it, because here's my problem. They don't have an issue. It's not that they have an issue with the controls. It's just the controls are not automatically like every other modern fucking game, so it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, no, if you actually learn it for 15 minutes, like, you'll be fine. Like, same thing with Death Stranding. Like, just you gotta learn it for like an hour or two. And understand, like, oh, okay, so, like, walking is, like, a bit more involved than, like, every other fucking game out there. Like, walking's an actual, like, mechanic in Death Stranding that needs to be, you know, feathered and worked on, you know, as you go from point A to B. The game would be fucking boring as shit, actually, if that wasn't the fucking case. If it did play, like, I don't know, if you were able to, like, you know, walk around like it was, like, I don't know, fucking Just Cause 3 or something. I was about to say,
like that's like Breath of the Wild. Like, Breath of the Wild is just, you hold the stick and you're getting where you need to go. And that game makes up for it by being systemic in other ways, like, whereas Death Stranding, it's not systemic in, like, the ways that Breath of the Wild is, but the walking's really intense. And like, that balance, like, those are both great open world offerings. They find a way to do it in different ways. Like, I mean, you know, with Elden Ring, it's like, okay, what Elden Ring lacks in this kind of, like, because a lot of open world games are attempts to, like, replicate, like, you know, they are systemic games, Just Cause, Far Cry, things like that. Like, Elden Ring's got more of the Skyrim approach, where it's this long character building game where it's like, okay, there's not a lot of you know, there's not a lot of like wilderness elements or like things like that, but it's this really strong RPG system. It's like they're you know, these are like Breath of the Wild versus Elden Ring is like and Tears of the Kingdom versus Elden Ring is going to be the same thing. Like, it's not a debate to be had. There's such different visions of the open world. Like, of course, if you just like harder combat and you like character building, there's no fucking way Tears of the Kingdom is going to beat Elden Ring in your mind. It doesn't have to. They can just be two different games. But people are always gonna, you know, are always gonna be like, yeah, well, why didn't they just do this? It worked in Elden Ring. Why aren't they just gonna do this? It's like, well, of course they're not gonna do that. Because it doesn't help. It doesn't fucking help the game. It's
a different fucking game. Combat in Breath of the Wild is significantly less interesting than it is in Elden Ring. I don't want to be fighting 4 times as many enemies in Tears of the Kingdom. Like,
yeah,
I want to be fighting different kinds of enemies, but I don't need to be I don't need to be fighting
like the same consistency as Elden Ring, where like there's a fight every, I don't know, fucking minute of that game. Like,
yeah, or you'll come across something, you know, some enemy or some
kind
enemy
of hazard.
Or boss.
Yeah, like there is some kind of hazard. Whereas like Breath of the Wild, you might go, I don't know, 5-10 minutes without a combat encounter, and it's like. And then, okay, then you spend all your resources that you've been building up, and, you know, it takes a minute, and combat is fun and simple, and it's over fast, unless you're crazy and you want to learn how to TCR and DPP and all these other acronyms.
And PRP and PCP and TSA and ACT and SAT
BCS and BTS
and IBS and OBS.
IBM. ICUP, all
these, AMC,
all these mechanics. Well, you did bring up Resident Evil 4, Sam.
I did. I beat it.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Except I thought this was going to be the Sam Kingma show because you have 2 pretty hot content takes.
I do have pretty hot ones. I mean, we got like 40, 50 minutes, Myles. What do you want to hear about? You want to hear about RE4? You want to hear about drunk driving at 17?
Let's do like 10 minutes of RE4. I think we can knock that out.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I finished the game. I think last time I left off at like 3-1, so I did all the castle, all of the Act 4, and then all of the island on Act 5. I gotta say, game, but yeah, basically like a 10 out of 10 more or less. Like, fucking awesome. I've already, by the way, started my second playthrough. I'm on chapter 2-3.
And it's so much faster, isn't it?
Oh my god, I'm off to the races. Also, I'm doing what you suggested, and I'm not upgrading any of my weapons until Act 3-1. And then I'm gonna sell the base rifle and shotgun for the better guns. So yeah, and this is gonna be Red 9 playthrough, is what this is gonna be.
So Red 9 is 2-2. So you're actually
yeah, so I'll pick it up relatively soon.
Yeah, you should be able to get it soon. And obviously, once you get that, you can start upgrading, but
Yeah. Actually, I think I'm at this. What is the cabin at the end of 2-2?
Yes, it is. So you
Okay,
should
then
have been
I'm
able to
at
get
the
the
start
red
of
9 by
2-2.
now. Yeah, you
I'm
should have
at
been
the
able
start of 2-2. I
okay.
made a mistake.
Yeah, first merchant is after you leave the church. So you'll be able to purchase the red 9. Like if you literally if you leave this call and go and play the game immediately, you'll have the red 9 in your hands in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, great. I'm very excited to use it. I really enjoyed the Silver Ghost at the end of my first playthrough because getting the 5 times crit chance is just fucking god tier, dude. That shit comes in clutch. I mean, it can kind of fuck you up when you really needed to headshot one guy in a group of enemies to like roundhouse kick him for some space, and then you get a crit and you're like, oh fuck. Like
that's actually why I don't use the Silver Ghost. Like for as much as the headshot shit is really cool. My playstyle is so dependent on getting those iframes and so the Silver Ghost is too much of a liability for me. But obviously that's my playthrough or my playstyle, and everyone's got a different playstyle. Again, I'm a Blacktail man nowadays, but I was a red 9 guy for like 7 years or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm also gonna do a playthrough where I do Blacktail as well. So I also I want to use a couple of the other guns. Like I totally skipped Mine Thrower first time through. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to use this. Like,
Mine Thrower is that's the most like controversial weapon. Most people think it sucks. The ammo for it is rarer than the Magnum. Which says a lot. Yeah. But the Mine Thrower, and unfortunately it takes up a lot of space in your case, but the Mine Thrower is really useful for certain situations. The exclusive for the Mine Thrower, because you're probably not going to be able to upgrade it in a single playthrough, makes the mines homing.
That's cool.
So,
that's pretty exciting.
When you know that, it is kind of worth, keeping the Mine Thrower and especially using it for certain situations. It's really helpful for things like the truck at the end of the game, the bulldozer.
Oh God, the truck. Dude, first of all, let me just say, I really like that dump truck encounter.
Oh yeah.
I like when you got to get off and get on the lift.
And then enemies come after Ashley, and it's great.
And then you gotta fucking snipe them from the top area. Yeah, that shit's awesome. Then you get back on, and then you're shooting behind you, and then she goes, Leon! Or whatever, and then you hear the honk, honk, and then you turn around. I died to that the first time, because I was just like, she says, like, Leon or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's probably nothing. And then I'm like, that might have actually been something. And I turn around, the truck's like 5 feet away, and then I...
That's so awesome. Yeah, no, I said that the island is the weak point of Resident Evil 4, and it is, but again, I also said in that same breath, that's like saying that season 4 of Better Call Saul is the weak point of Better Call Saul. It's like, you're still getting fucking like great quality moment to moment stuff. Like the problem is just a lot of it is just going into rooms and shooting guns until it's going into synagogues and shooting guns.
Although I gotta say, the best part in chapter 5, dude, is when the fucking helicopter, when Mike, the helicopter pilot, comes and saves your ass. Because I was like, because that scene happens, it like kind of shows a camera pan of the area and it shows the turret, and I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm not ready for this, dude. Because there's like 20 enemies.
Yeah.
And it really looks like they're gonna make you do it.
And then he goes, sorry, bad traffic.
Dude, he's awesome. Dude, he's on screen in the game for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Name's Mike. You're looking for firepower, you come to the right place. Dude, every Mike line, my favorite is, swiped him clean, yeah!
Yeah! Dude, it sounds like fucking Ace Combat. It's so cool.
It's so, dude, I fucking love, and the music in that part is so awesome.
It's such a great moment. Yeah, it's such a great, like, that's how you end a fucking game. And then it keeps going, then it's like, no, Krauser fight now. And you have this
Krauser fight is before.
Oh, you do fight it before? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's and by the way, you didn't mention U3 at all yesterday, and I was like, how could you not mention U3?
Is that the box? Is that where you're in the box?
That
shit is crazy.
That's like my favorite part of the game. Like, for as much as I say like chapter 5 is like the weakest part, like that is my favorite part of the game. By the way, not in the remake.
Dude. Really?
Yeah. It's just not there. It's just not in the game.
Dude, that's
they didn't
so
redistribute
sad, bro.
it. They didn't put it somewhere else. It's just not in the game, even though it's the best thing in the fucking game.
It's so tense, man, because they introduce you to that enemy where you have to wait it out for 4 minutes. Oh god, what fucking hell that was for me.
Oh no, that's Verdugo. That's Verdugo.
Oh, okay.
The U3 is in the tanker where you have to drop each segment of the tank.
Yeah, you drop and then you drop it, and then he fucking crawls up the fucking bottomless pit. And you fight him for real?
You think you're done, but you're not. Dude, this whole game is just like there's not been a game where every room is good since Resident Evil 4, as far as I'm concerned.
No. There's really not there wasn't really any time where I was like, man, this is dog shit. Like, this shit right here sucks.
It's just, it's like the worst that Resident Evil 4 gets is good.
Yeah.
It's solid or it's fine, you know?
Yeah. Probably the weakest part of the game is probably the Ashley section, but that's like 20 minutes. Not even.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 10 if you know the puzzle.
It's a nice little change of pace. It's okay. You know.
Yeah, I got no issue with that. I don't mind stuff like that at all in games. I know people get like really pissy about like underwater levels and shit. And it's like, no, if you want to make me do something different to like switch it up a bit, like I'm fucking fine with that.
What's actually really cool, and they restore it in the HD project, is the Japanese version uses fixed camera angles, which makes it even more interesting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. There's not too many enemies in.
No, but it's also cool that you have to use like the environment to take them down. Like, where you
throw the lamps at them. That's pretty fun.
That's like an okay little segment. I don't, it's fun.
I don't hate it. I don't really hate anything in this game.
Yeah, no, and that's what's amazing. There's not a single moment where I'm like, oh, this is not great. Like when you love a game and you're also experiencing something where you're like, I know this is not on the level, you know? Like even Resident Evil 1 has a couple of moments like that. Like Resident Evil Remake kind of less so, but there are moments where you're like, this is a little bit, you know, this is slightly boring. This is slightly boring compared to how good it normally is.
Yeah, like a Metal Gear Solid 1 key card moment. Like, that's so weird. Like, it's so weird.
Snake Eater's another game where it's like, there's just nothing but good in the whole fucking experience. Whereas like Resident Evil 4, very similar, just constant good. Whereas you're playing like, you know, MGS2 or MGS1 or Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and like there's that moment where you're like, all right, let's get through it. We just got to do this.
Yeah, it's no, Resident Evil 4 is fucking awesome. I'm so glad I like finally sat down and actually like played through it. Now I'm playing through it again.
And it only took a fucking remake. It only took a remake that you rejected on site.
It only took a remake for me to say, okay, cool, I'm gonna play the original now. Like,
and you know what? It is a 10 out of 10. It is truly,
it really is.
Yeah, it is truly like inarguable Pantheon great 10 out of 10 video game, like as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I was ready to like. I was hanging out with a good buddy of mine yesterday, but that was the reason why I didn't immediately jump into my second playthrough. But yeah, like I was like ready to rock the second that game ended. After you do the jet ski escape sequence, which by the way, I totally didn't die on that 4 times. By the way,
I have died on that before, like on my first playthrough, because there is something kind of difficult about it, like the hit detection.
It's the last rock. It's the very last obstacle. Fucked me up 3 times.
It's very similar to the Devil May Cry like plane. And you could tell that was the same sequence. Like at some point, it was an escape on a biplane. Like in like Resident Evil 4, back when it starred Tony Redgrave in a castle.
That was Dante's original name, Tony Redgrave.
He was a biomutant human, which they kind of reused for Jake and Ethan in Resident Evil, where he was just like a bioengineered like superhuman, and that's how Dante came to be.
I got crazy Dante vibes from when Krauser activates his sort of final form and gets the scythe arm.
Yeah,
I was like, this looks like Sparta.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a Sparta moment. I love that Krauser fight, like because it's one of the cool things about survival horror where fights aren't always like shoot the gun until they're dead. Like there's like an environmental component or some sort of puzzle element where like the entire Krauser fight takes place in a fucking ruin, and the whole thing is just like watching for traps and watching for ambushes. And he fights like a soldier. Like he fights like a commando where he's using his environment and he's using tricks and traps and tools. I mean, it is like fighting fucking Rambo. Like mechanically, it's like fighting Rambo.
It's very cool. I did not expect Resident Evil 4 to have a moment like that. And I gotta give a hand up to because I was like, I don't think this control scheme fits a fight like this. Like a very like crouch down human versus human gun battle. Because that's why I'm like, oh, that's what the knife fight is for. Which, by the way, I just wanted to say something about RE4 just in general. Because that knife fight is in the last, like, 90 minutes. And when I think of, like, pretty iconic, memorable scenes that people, like, quote or mention a lot from this game, it's the knife fight. And I think that speaks a lot to RE4's, like, credibility as a game, because that's 14 hours into the fucking game.
That people finished it. Like, that people got that far. And they can, quote, like you, I'm American.
Oh, man.
I could quote that entire scene. Like... there's just so many great lines. You may be able to prolong your life, but it's not like you can escape your inevitable death, is it? just things like that are so like so great. And I love everything about that Krauser fight where again it's human versus human, but it uses the like it's the same mechanics. It's environment. It's watching out for traps. It's fast reaction, and they teach you how to fight Krauser because the knife in that fight deals 60 damage to him instead of 0.6 damage. So it actually deals as much damage as it deals more damage than a fully upgraded Broken Butterfly.
Oh wow, 60?
60, yeah, 60 per hit. Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't know that because you can knock him down at some points, and I'm like, oh, so I guess you can knife him for crazy damage. Is that still in the final phase? In the 3-minute fight?
No, it is the final phase where that applies the most.
Oh, okay. Oh, I guess that's how you're supposed to take him out in like a minute, because you're given like only 3 minutes to do it. I'm like, holy shit. I use the rifle because I had the rifle basically maxed out, the semi-automatic rifle, and just like pow, pow. It was very easy for me to hit him before he would attack me.
Yeah.
That's a really fun fight.
That whole fight is so awesome. And I just love like the music in that fight is so like great. Like that kind of like that march. And he's got so many like lines that I love. Run, Leon, run! Things like that. Or what do you fight for, comrade? My past, I suppose.
Oh yeah, dude, there's a quick time event to respond.
There's another one like that where he goes, "Come on out here and fight like a man," and you can hit respond, and Leon goes, "I'm not falling for that one. Just trying to have a little fun."
Yeah, no, Resident Evil 4, fucking awesome. Highly recommend it if you haven't played it. If you're one of the 2 people watching this podcast who hasn't played Resident Evil 4,
and who doesn't already think it's the best fucking thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
That actually,
it really is.
Yeah.
The more I think
about it, the more I prefer it to Resident Evil Remake. Like, the more and I think I'll always have Resident Evil Remake as, like, a top 5 pick for me. That's such an important game for me, and it got me into horror. I think it's brilliantly conceived. I love everything about it, but, like, I would rather play Resident Evil 4. Like, truly.
There's just more, like, I guess there's just more permutations to the type of fun you can have in RE4.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's enough guns in the game where you really do have to pick and choose what you want. Like, you do have to kind of pick your pistol. You do kind of have to choose between, like, the mine thrower or, like, having the RPG or, like, because I'm considering whether or not I want to pick up the TMP in the second playthrough or
you don't
not.
want to pick up the TMP in the second playthrough.
I just don't... Is the lack of space, or is the space saved from not having the TMP, plus the sales I get from all the TMP ammo I'll pick up, really worth just not having another gun I can flip to?
I mean, here's the thing. If you really are the kind of person who uses it in emergency situations, it's fine. But, like, I think that you are a good enough player to get a handle of, like, I don't need this, like, spray and pray panic option. I can get a QTE.
I never really used it as a spray and pray panic option for the record. I basically just used it as backup pistol. Like,
yeah, and it's like, at that point, you might as well not use it. Like, again, TM
but I'm gonna
pistol
run out of
players-
ammo. I'm gonna run out of pistol ammo, Myles. I'm gonna run out of 9mm bullets.
I think, yeah, the space you save from not picking up jackal ammo and the space you save from, because that's a 2x2 gun. It's not a lot, but it, like, the way that I think about it is, if you get rid of the riot shotgun and replace it with the striker, which it takes a while, but like by the time that you are deep enough into the game where you want the RPG in your case, and you are gonna have to make those choices, by the time that you replace it with the striker, you've just opened up, I think, 4 1x2 slots.
Do you recommend the striker over the riot gun?
The striker's much faster, and the exclusive upgrade of the striker is 100 shells in the drum. And the thing is, it just gives you the 100 shells when you get the exclusive. So you basically just, for free, buy an additional 100 shotgun shells.
Bullets.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And by the way, if you don't get the exclusive, it still holds 28 shotgun shells. So, like, that's a lot of space saved in your inventory, and it's a lot of shotgun shells that you can eat through in your case.
Yeah, is it weaker than the riot gun?
I think it's weaker. It fires faster, but then the other thing is that it's a hip fire instead of a shoulder fire, so headshots are harder to, like, guarantee. You have to aim higher to get the headshots, whereas you can keep the gun level with the riot shotgun and get a headshot. So it's where I always get it. I like the space saved, and I like the added challenge, and I like the speed of it, and I like having 100 bullets. I'll go through all the exclusives because they're pretty cool. And you're not guaranteed to see them all. Killer 7, I believe, goes up to 35 damage. Broken Butterfly goes up to 50 damage, which is great, but you're only ever going to get that on New Game Plus, more or less. Blacktail goes up to 4.5 damage. Red 9 goes up to 6.5. The exclusive for the rifle is, I think, 18 damage or something like that, which is pretty hardcore. It might be like 25 awesome. Or 35, something like that, for the bolt action rifle. And then but I love the semi-auto because it reduces the fire time to 0.8 or like 1.8 or something like that.
1.83 is the fire time.
Where it's like, that's like ridiculously short for a fucking sniper rifle. I forget. I think the TMP gives it 1.0 damage, so it does the equivalent of
1.2.
The default pistol. Okay, 1.2. The shotgun, the base shotgun, the exclusive is it deals the same amount of damage without fall off from any range. So it basically turns it into a shotgun. Like, it is worth keeping around for that exclusive, but obviously that's a lot of the game played without it and played with a kind of subpar shotgun. And I think those are all the guns in the game. Oh, and the mine thrower, the homing mine.
Yeah. Also, there was one more gun I had to ask about. So in the opening, like, movie, the little trailer movie that most of these games from the GameCube era had, there's like an electric gun. Like, he shoots electricity or something.
Oh, that's
it's like
probably
a white.
That's probably.
It looks like a special gun you get for beating like professional or something. Maybe.
That is what it is, and I can spoil it if you want, unless you want to see it for yourself.
No, I'll see it for myself. I also forgot to mention earlier that my second playthrough, also on normal, my third playthrough with the Blacktail run will be on professional.
Yeah, and that's a good gun to have for professional. Though if you end up liking the Red 9 more, I would encourage you to choose the Red 9 into professional as well.
Yeah, I'm going to also try to no stock the Red 9. I'm going to try to play without stock.
That's worth doing, especially because it allows you to keep the cool thing. That's the other problem I have with the remake, is that Leon just runs with his fucking gun like at his arm like this. Like, he's not doing the cool guy like at
Charlie's he's always holding it up. Yeah, that shit's sick.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Charlie's Angels, let's talk about, this is the worst segue of all time. Let's talk about adorable little angels who drive drunk and go to heaven because they die.
Yeah, so if you guys are fans of the show from a couple weeks ago, I brought up Lifetime original movies, which of course is like a big passion of mine. I really find the Lifetime movie mill quite fascinating. Specifically because they make a lot of like high school PSA content. And this is one of those movies, except it's split. It's high school PSA content, but also like high school parent PSA content, so it like doubles up. So
you're supposed to watch it on the couch with your teenage daughter, and
yeah, exactly.
show it to them, and the parent is also supposed to kind of be able to, because my guess is it's also about explaining, like, okay, if you know parents who are like this, stay away.
Not quite. It's not quite like that. It's just like, hey, if you are a parent to a high school kid, you should not have a party with alcohol. That's like the PSA of it. So I started watching this shit on Lifetime because I was bored one day and I'm like, I'm gonna watch Drunk Driving 17. I watched about a minute and a half, paused it, and said, I gotta take some notes. I gotta take some notes because I just know that I'm gonna need them. So I have about 3 pages worth of notes on Drunk Driving at 17. Over 1,000 words written about what happens in the movie and some notes and stuff like that. So, Myles, I figured I would just give you a recap to end off the podcast. Give you a recap of Drunk Driving at 17. Talk about what happens and get your takes and get your lifetime.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
So I just want to start by saying the movie opens on a basketball court and like the theme song is like the most generic, like do 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 do, like the very like the most like level 0 hype basketball music.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, is that a hype? Like, is that hype, or is it supposed to be like?
Yeah,
somber?
It's like it's got that like dun 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 dun, like they play during warm-ups.
Oh,
like Let's Get Ready to Rumble, but it's
okay.
like the boneless version of Let's Get Ready to Rumble.
It's not a Space Jam like track where you're supposed to.
Yeah, it's like a Space Jam energy, but again, like level 0. If Space Jam's level 88, this is like level 1 or level 2.
How everyone else views Space Jam 2, basically.
Yeah,
everyone who's
exactly.
Not us.
You get it. Yeah, you get it. So this movie, based on a true story, no, Myles. Inspired by true events. A swirl film production.
I love, let me just say, I love, like production companies. I know this is like such a bizarre thing, because like there are some production companies that everyone knows, Jerry Bruckheimer, A24, the Weinstein Company.
Yeah, of course. Our favorites.
Yeah, our favorites. Big fans of those brothers. Of those
Not even the companies, specifically the brothers who own it.
The brothers. I do want to correct a previous error. I got called out for not bringing up Matthew Lillard on Scream, so I'm going to do this in 2 minutes. Because speaking of, that's a Weinstein movie. Ruh-roh. So I got called out for not bringing up Matthew Lillard, who has the most amazing face acting, and this might help because if there's a particular performer who has a similar, because these teen actors are always like weird. Matthew Lillard.
These teen actors are always 20.
Well, no, like they always give like really like pastiche performances of like what they think is like someone who is a teen in this archetype is supposed to be like. Matthew Lillard is doing a pitch perfect example of this character, of this stock 90s character, and he has like the best facial expressions. There's one scene where he gets called out, like someone's like, I think that you might be the killer, and he goes, or like, no, the scene is someone goes, you think I have a chance with Sydney? That's the main character, and he goes, no, I don't. Like, just like his facial expressions in that movie are like so perfect, and he just has like the best faces in that movie. Like, such a great performance. There's one part, one of the funniest lines, Sydney manages to call the police, and he is in trouble, right? Like he like bleeding to death in trouble. I did something wrong in trouble, like criminal in trouble, and he just goes, my mom is gonna be so mad at me. And like, it's like the delivery and the face is so perfect. So I do want to correct the mistake. Matthew Lillard in Scream is fucking awesome. And yeah, teen actors are always really funny, like how they play these characters. Skeet Ulrich plays like the bad boy in Scream, and I guarantee you, dollars to donuts, there's a bad boy in Drunk Driving at 16.
Yeah, let's see. Bad boy. Ooh, I don't know if there's like your traditional bad boy like these high school movies typically tend to have. Because it's split between the high schoolers and like the parents of the high schoolers in this movie. It's much more of a hybrid in that sense. So, of course, we mentioned that the movie takes place at a basketball court, high school basketball court. One of the main characters is, of course, our star basketball player, Dan, and his girlfriend, Kim.
The monosyllabic names.
So you would like Dan because Dan is like the same race as you, basically. Like olive colored, like
you two would get along because you're the same race.
I didn't mean it like that, but it's a rare. I just feel like you're like, people, Myles.
It's me and Justice Smith. We're the only ones who look like this. Me and Evan
there's
Ross.
a third guy.
Yeah, he's officially the fourth Myles type person.
And and he's got a girlfriend, Kim, and they're both pretty smart, well-to-do, popular high schoolers who are trying to get into Stanford. They're trying to get into Stanford. Dan, of course, trying to get in on basketball scholarship, and Kim trying to get in.
Who is Lisa?
With her good grades. Lisa is another character we'll get into. So basically, after this this basketball game, they all split. We kind of get introduced to the main players, and then they all split to a party. Not the party, but a party. A party being held by what I'm pretty sure is Daryl's parents. And we don't meet Daryl in the story, but he does get name dropped in a scene in a few minutes from now. And they're drinking at this party. These high schoolers, they're drinking at this party. And there's this girl, Lisa, who is just fucking documenting this entire event on her phone. She's taking tons of videos, tons of photos, and immediately I'm watching this shit, and I'm like, this is a massive party foul. I'm like, this is an extreme fucking party foul. Because anyone in her grade, especially all the people who are playing in athletics, who are multiple people in this scene, because Dan is friends with a couple other guys who also are like good players on the basketball team or whatever. And Lisa is just there just documenting this whole shit. And nobody calls her out for just taking these photos, these underage people drinking and being at a party doing illicit, illegal activities for minors. But it's
Speaking
okay,
of the
though,
Harvey
because...
Weinstein Company.
But it's okay because Kim is a sober DD, is the designated driver, so it's all good. So this party happens without a hitch and everything's fine. Well, the star basketball player, he gets a call from Stanford and ends up getting a partial scholarship to play basketball for them.
Not a full ride, just a partial.
Not a full ride, but a partial scholarship. His parents are
That's
excited. His
surprisingly
dad,
realistic, by the way. Like,
yeah, I know, right? Actually,
that they wouldn't go for like the golden drama of like, I got a full ride, and like they're worried about taking it away or he dies. Like oh, he died before, because there's this like wistful quality to all these movies where like the person who dies is never like a horrible piece of shit, you know?
No.
Like it's or someone who like no one would actually. You ever see the movie Heathers? I'm gonna assume not.
No. I know of it though.
Yeah, it's like a Mean Girl. It's the prototype to Mean Girls. It's the movie that inspired Mean Girls. And the jock who they kill in that movie. Spoilers for Heathers, I guess. They similar to Better Call Saul season 6. They do like a little like they're like, okay, well we have to have an alibi. So they pretend that he killed himself because he was gay and he couldn't handle being gay in a homophobic world. Like, meanwhile, they murdered him. And so his dad at the funeral is like crying, and he's like he has a line that sticks in my brain forever. Where he goes, I love my son. I love my gay son. Like, and it's a comedic scene. It's not supposed to, like, it's a funny movie. But like they always have like, they're like, oh, these little angels. Whereas Heather's like, yeah, no, this jock was a piece of shit. and he died. They murdered him, and you're not supposed to feel fucking anything. Like these Lifetime movies, it's always like, precious angels who've earned their wings because they crashed in a car and got horribly mangled, and they were a virgin, but like a virgin by choice. All the men wanted them, but they stayed pure. And it's like, so the fact that they only give him a partial ride instead of a full ride is some restraint.
Yeah, I give him some credit for that. Although there's some problems with Dan's character that we'll get into later, and how the story handles him. But basically, so yeah, his family is celebrating. His dad gives him a beer, and the Dan is basically like, I want a party. It's like with a kegger. The dad, he's all for it. He's like, yeah, you earned it or whatever, son. The mom, bit hesitant. Martha, Tim, those are his parents. Martha, a bit hesitant. So she's at a little meetup with a couple of her mom friends. And she's like, I don't really know about having this party with alcohol there. And of course, the scene is set. This is actually one of the only like good shots in the movie. The scene is just this basic shot of it's her in the center and then her two friends on the left and right, symbolizing the angel and the devil. And the devil parent, who's dressed in red, of course, is like, we've had, Darius's friends over and had them drinking. We host all the time, we've never had any issues, just keep an eye on them. It's no big deal. And then the other person's, the other mom who is sitting next to her, who is another character we know in the story, but it hasn't come up yet. She's like, I don't know about that. It's not going to lead to anything good, Martha. You're playing with fire. And Martha's just like, okay. And I just want to say, Martha, real wine mom energy. Like, really? Like, when I say wine mom and some image pops in your head, that's Martha, all right? So,
like, blonde hair, kind of slinky dresses.
Yeah, blonde hair, like 40s, early 40s.
Kind of sharp face, sharp features.
Yeah, you get it. Get it. So
I could have written this fucking film.
Well, it cuts away. You probably could have written a better film than this, honestly.
Maybe.
So then it cuts to Kim talking to her mom. Kim, of course, Dan's girlfriend. Kim might not get into Stanford, a little worried. Also, Kim's mom, not crazy about Dan. Not really crazy about Dan. But Kim, she loves Dan. She's like, yeah, we're going to be together forever. It's all going to work out. Cuts back to the gym. Cuts to the gym for practice. We get one of the funniest fucking line reads I've ever heard, and it's just from the random coach of the school who's in this one scene, who says off screen, all right, that's it. Nice hustle, if that's what you want to call it. And he says it so bummed. But then he's like, all right, yeah, let's hit the showers. Good practice. So it's just like, he says it so nonchalantly, like, oh man, these guys suck dick. And he's not happy. This coach is bummed. This coach hates his life, dude, and his team. But
was he off screen when he says this? Is that like...
Yeah, he says it off screen.
So that's an 80-yard line. I guarantee you, dollars to donuts, that was an 80-yard line. They added it in after the fact. An 80-yard typically leads to some of the funniest moments in movies, because it's just like, it's haphazardly done and it's obvious and you can tell. There's one in Scream where Gale Weathers is supposed to say like, I'll be fine or something like that, but they dub her in to say I'll be right back, which is a callback to an earlier scene where Jamie says, if you say I'll be right back, you're gonna die in a horror movie. So they wanted to do a little meta something with that, but they didn't record it, so they just had Monica from Friends, Courtney Cox, just dub the line over. There's one in Step Up 3 The Streets, which I've seen 4 times. I was on a cruise ship and they had it on the television, and my sisters and I are just like, it's free, and this movie sounds like garbage, so let's watch Step Up 2. No, it was Step Up 2, The Streets. Because Step Up 3 is Step Up 3D. And so we decided to watch it, and it's funny as fuck. It probably doesn't hold up nowadays, like, comedy-wise, but, like, there is one 80-yard line. Like, the dance crew goes into some club, and they they suck. They're not very good. And there's an 80-yard line of someone going, "You guys are garbage!" and the line delivery is like burned into my brain forever. And it's off screen, so you know that they added that in later because like the scene, they probably didn't get enough good, like the scene was probably awkward or lifeless or something like that, so they added some guy screaming that. It was probably a PA or like the sound guy himself. So yeah, so this coach, they added that 80-yard line where he hates himself.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, so they fucking have this fucking this scene in the thing or whatever, and basically Dan's parents let him have this party, and Dan is starting to invite a few too many people. So his buddy Joey, who unfortunately has to work the night of the party, he's not going to be able to be there. He tells me, he's like, "Yo, man, stop inviting so many Randys." That's what he says. Stop inviting so many Randys. That's how this shit gets out of control. And Dan's all like, "Oh." And Dan, he's not paying attention to his buddy Joey trying to tell him, like, "Hey, man, don't let this get out. Don't let this get out of hand."
Randys.
Because Dan is eyeing none other than Heather. Enter new love rival. They have a bit of a heated conversation that gets interrupted by the coach, who is like, "Hey, were you guys drinking at a party?" Flashback to 7 minutes ago when I was bitching about DocuBitch filming shit at the party. The coach is like, "Cut that shit out. You guys are wasting your potential or whatever. You don't want recruiters to see that." And they all kind of just like blow. They're like, "Oh, whatever, coach." And then they blow him off.
The lesson is beat up the girl who recorded it. It's not stop drinking.
Exactly. That's the lesson so far. Remember this as I continue talking about this for 20 more minutes. Remember this seed. And how they knew that the Lisa, the girl, kind of fucked them. Well, flash over to Lisa, Kim, and their other friend Nikki. And
all
Kim,
of these names are so perfect, by the way.
They're all Lifetime
for the kind of movie that this is. Yeah,
exactly.
Tim and Heather, Dan. Like Dan is the hot boyfriend, whereas Tim is the dad.
Yeah. So Kim doesn't make it in to Stanford. She gets waitlisted. She tells Dan about it. But she's like, maybe, I could still move in with you and like get a job and work community college and get in next year. It's no big deal. We could still, live together and make this happen. But Dan, he wants local pussy. If he needs that pussy local. If his girlfriend's not gonna be local, he don't want to deal with it. So Dan, he's like, "Oh, okay, it'll be all right." But he's he's wavering. He's on the rocks. Well, Lisa informs Kim of Heather and Dan talking, and Kim's like, "Oh, whatever. Well, it's time for the big party with the keggers, the party held at Martha and Tim Wright's house. And this party, Myles, it's off the chain. There's at least 40 fucking people here.
40
ton
Randys.
of fucking people.
There's too many Randys.
Failure number one. Of course, these are for the failures for the parents. Failure number one. Dad is quickly removed from keymaster duty. He is standing at the front of the door, taking everyone's keys, which, by the way, was very nostalgic for me. Seeing that play out was just a very nostalgic scene.
Putting the keys in the bowl.
Yeah, putting the keys in the bowl or whatever.
I've had a similar reaction of nostalgia whenever Saul or Jimmy McGill is working with his like college film students, and like the sets are always crazy and everything's moving so fast. The camera guy is like, "Oh, we can't do this shot," and the actress, the makeup girl is enthusiastic. I just feel so warm when I watch those scenes.
Yeah, I felt that way too, because I was definitely on.
Yeah, like because we both went to communication school and we both worked films and done editing and film stuff. Like so,
and we're on like sets and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we feel this warmth, like. The keys in the bowl, like I've only been to one of these kinds of parties, but like that's a sight,
Yeah, so basically, like, I'd say like about 15, 20 people right here. Dad gets kicked off within like 30 minutes. He gets kicked off. Dan's like, "Yeah, Tim, why don't you go upstairs, Dad? Steve will handle it. Steve's DD, and he's on medication or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, I'm on he's like, yeah, I'm on antibiotics right now. I can't, drink or whatever." So this idiot Steve gets taken over as fucking keymaster duty. And then I just am like, and then his parents are just kind of like standing around a bit. And I wrote in a message, I'm like, I can't believe the son wanted to host this. Like, these events are only funny when they're not your house. You know, like, I would never want to host this, let alone when my parents are actually here and present for it, you know? So failure number 2, Myles. The parents head upstairs within like an hour of the party starting. For the record, Dan's girlfriend, Kim, was not even at the party yet. You'd think she'd be one of the first people to get there, or within an hour, they're gone before she even gets there. So that's failure number 2. Failure number 3, the parents don't even know how many kids are going to be at this party. They don't even have a rough number or an estimate. They just think it's going to be like 15, 20 people. It's not. It's like double that. It's like 50. So we see Kim kind of down in the dumps because she didn't get into Stanford. Lisa offers her beer, but she's like, I'm good. I don't really want that. There's also, Kim's also wearing like this green dress where I think there's like a phone slap under the skirt, because there's this scene where she just shoves her phone under her skirt and then gets up. I'm like, what the fuck? I replayed it like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, does women's clothes work like that? Do they have like these inner pockets for the phone?
They might now.
They might now. It's crazy. Well, she gets up to go, find Dan or whatever, and what does she find? She finds Dan kissing Heather, cheating on her, and Dan gets caught red-handed, and Kim starts to fucking spiral. And Myles, I have to play a scene from the movie.
Oh, yes.
Because this scene right here, the audio, she screams like, I'm just going to tell you what, she screams, how will you do this to me? But the sound effect is a literal space warp engine. Like, we're going to hyperspace on this shit. So,
I thought you were about to say it was a vine boom.
It's close to a vine boom.
Okay, let's hear it.
I really do care about you.
Why did you do this to me?
Why does it sound like that?
Oh, it's rad gravity up in here, dude.
Dude, it really is. One more time.
I really do care about you.
Why did you do this?
Then why did you do this? Whoosh.
Yeah,
it sounds like we just warped 10 light years.
Sam, can I just say something real quick that proves that I'm a racist?
Okay.
Okay, when you started telling me about Kim, I thought she was white. Because Kim is a white girl name. So when I'm seeing this black girl on screen, and I'm like, oh, that's Kim? I revealed myself as a racist. I will have to say, Lifetime is very progressive for having these two tragic characters both be black. Good on them. And by the way, rare instance of a black man dating a black woman. Black men infamously love white girls.
So here's the deal. So to Dan's comment, so Dan's parents, so Tim is white, and then his mother is like, I think mixed.
Okay. Dominican,
or she looks pretty mixed, more lighter, darker skinned woman. Martha.
But that's what's funny about this is that all these are white people names. Like, even though these are black, like, which makes me think the script was just kind of written, generic.
Yeah,
Lifetime script, and someone in production was like, oh well, let's like maybe the girl, Kim's actor was really great and Dan's actor was really great, or maybe someone was like, oh, we don't have any urban content. So we're not running enough urban content. We need more urban content. Let's cast Kim and Dan as black people. Like, even though they're given the most like milquetoast white dude names.
No, they are black people. They are not casted as black people. Kim and Dan's actors.
That's what I mean. Like they said like this script is ambiguous. It doesn't say
yeah,
like it doesn't say whether they're white or black or not. Let's cast them as black people.
Yeah, it's pretty irrelevant to how
it's irrelevant to the story, but it's relevant to my racial views, to the problematic internalized views that I have, and I'm now playing up for comedy.
So basically, Kim spirals, as we saw from that clip. She starts freaking out.
She
Her
starts
friend
warping.
Nikki, yeah, she starts hyper warping. And she warps from someone who wants to be sober to someone who wants to drink and drink a lot. Her friend Nikki, she wants to talk to her. By the way, Nikki, I just want to say wife material. Nikki is wife material.
Sam, she's 17. She's 17 years old. Sam.
I mean,
you can't say that if she's not an anime girl. It's okay when we say that about Aqua or whatever. Or Megumin. You can't say it about, well, Nikki from Driving Drunk at 17.
Nikki just wants to help her out. She wants to help her out, you know? But, you know, she doesn't want, she just wants to fucking drink. So literally, Kim chugs 3 half-filled up solo cups of warm, dark beer in like 30 seconds. She's going fucking hard. Nikki then FaceTimes her boyfriend Joey, who's Dan's friend from earlier at the basketball court, who about the Randy's guy, and who basically he's working at the pizzeria. #relatable. And he's like, and Joey's like to Nikki's like, you know, maybe tell, you know, Dan's parents that, you know, like Kim's kind of crazy right now and that she needs to chill. And Nikki's like, oh, you know, I can't get her in trouble like that, you know, like. Well, then documentary bitch Lisa at the party, none of her fucking friends called her out for her fucking behavior. She's still filming everything. And of course she films Kim drinking like crazy, doing a chug thing, you know, making a fool of herself. And she uploads a unflattering TikTok of, you know, Kim, you know, drinking hard or whatever. And by the way, she's blitzed and like the Inception music is playing, by the way, in the background.
See, this Lisa character, she needed to secretly hate them all and, like, be secretly recording this.
Yeah, so there's this guy at the party who's, I have in my notes as aggro guy. Aggro guy gets Kim really drunk and then brings her upstairs. And it's like, oh God, she's going to get taken advantage of. Oh no. Thankfully, aggro attempt failed. By Kim, thwarted by Kim, but but at this point, she was almost sexually assaulted. She's fucking blitzed off her ass. This is when the story gets like really weird because she calls her mom. She calls her mom and she's like, "Mom, you need to pick me up immediately. I'm done." She's tired or whatever. She's fucked up. She goes downstairs. No one else is really around. Dan's fucking Heather now. Nikki fucking is, you know, she left Kim alone or whatever. Kim, in her drunken stupor, sees just some car keys just hanging on the side of the door. And she steals the family's car. So you know how, like, a couple episodes I was getting on the case of the description for being, she wrecks the car? She wrecks Tim and Martha's car. She steals their Jeep.
I was right in saying the family car. She wrecks the family car.
Yeah, but not her family car. So basically, yeah, she fucking leaves. And just grabs, you know, their keys or whatever and runs. So she didn't take her car. She took their car. She just had to get the fuck out of there. Even though she called her mom, telling her to pick her up. So she calls to pick her up and then runs downstairs and then grabs these keys and like leaves or whatever. Well, shortly after this, the mom is sitting upstairs and she has had it. She has got to know what's going downstairs. She hears a thud or whatever from something not the script never mentioned or whatever. And then she like runs downstairs and she stands on the couch and she's like, "Okay, party's over," in like the most Karen voice ever. The most Karen aggy about, "Okay, party's over." And then everybody starts to leave. Because she said party was over. And then she was like, "Wait a minute, you can't leave. You can't leave. You're all minors. You got to stay or like get a ride or something, or we could take you home or whatever." And then the dad's like, "What? Where? There's all these people." Like, because you know these fucking idiot parents didn't know what they were getting into. And then basically, like, it's almost like if you shouldn't have stopped at the front door 40 minutes in and then asked Dan, "Hey, what's up with all these people, man? Like, I thought this was like going to be like a, 15, 20 people." But no. So then the mom and dad are like, whew, in the morning, thankfully, people have either gotten home safe or there's like 20 people, like random high schoolers just on their couch or on their floor or whatever. And they're like, and the mom's like, Wow, I think we dodged a bullet there. You know, that could have been
an
really
important
bad.
question that I need to ask, because all these Lifetime movies are like this, is what fucking tax bracket do you think that this family is in? Because all these
upper middle class, middle class, absolutely. They both work full-time jobs. At
every
least making
Lifetime
100K
movie
each.
is like, it takes place in the biggest house that no one in our era could ever afford.
Yeah, no, it takes place in it's definitely like it's you know, both parents make over 100K easily, probably. Well, of course, you know, Kim's delirious on the road. She calls, you know, Nikki calls her, and Nikki's like, yo, where are you? Like, you know, Joey's coming to get us or whatever. And Kim's just fucking delirious. She's drunk as fuck on the road. And it's shot horribly. The scene of her actually crashing into the car is, like, incomprehensibly horrible how it's shot. Well, she crashes the Jeep, or she crashes the car into none other than Joey, who's coming to pick Nikki up. So Kim crashed into Joey, and Kim's in the hospital. Joey, not dead, but in a coma, and then later paralyzed. And it's pretty fucked up because Martha and Tim, they get a knock on the door from the police department, and they're like, is your car this? And they're like, yeah, and they're like, someone crashed your car, and they were under the influence of alcohol. And the dad is like, oh, what? Well, our car's not, what? Like, how could this fucking happen or whatever? So needless to say, so Kim's in the hospital, and then a couple days after being in the hospital, she, like, wakes up from, you know, the accident, and then she gets arrested for fucking drunk driving and causing a car accident and almost killing one of her classmates. The father, Tim, also gets arrested off screen. We don't see that.
I actually love when that happens. When something so integral just happens off screen.
Yeah. So basically, like, Nikki meets up with Kim at her hospital bed before she gets arrested, and she starts blasting her or whatever, because she's like, you know, my boyfriend's in a coma now, you fucking idiot. Like, because you fucking just had to wait at the party, or had to leave the party, and you couldn't wait like 20 minutes. So she's getting fucking berated. Joey's mom sees the unflattering TikTok of Kim that Lisa posted, and is like this is fucked up, man. Kids shouldn't be drinking at parties like this. So she goes to begin to press charges at Martha and Tim for housing underage minors drinking alcohol unsupervised, or with poor supervision. Basically, Kim is facing a 15-year prison sentence after she's arrested and bailed out. And she's pretty depressed about it. Also, when she goes to
a juvenile, though, she's
17, so she's being tried as an adult.
Okay.
For drunk driving, for a DUI.
Driving?
Yeah, that's a felony offense.
Well,
in the
obviously,
States.
but like a 15-year prison sentence for someone being tried. That's like pretty. Well, look. Everyone got syphilis, and she's too young. So you know what? I know what game we're playing. I know what game we're playing here.
Yeah, she's facing up a maximum of 15 months, I should say, or 15 years.
Okay,
15
so
years.
maximum 15 years. Okay, so they're probably not. Lawyer's probably going to get that knocked down.
There's a conversation. Yeah, there's a lawyer where she talks to law. Better call law.
So it's not. Is she talking to Chuck? Is that who she's talking to?
Dude, a little bit, kinda. He's very, like, low key and, like, low, like, serious, like very low.
So more like if we're talking fictional lawyers, more like what's his face? Who plays Daredevil? Matt something.
Yeah, Matt
Bradley. No, Matt Bradley's the amphibia guy. Matt Vargas.
I don't know.
Matt Vargas, who made Life of Shy Guy.
But it's definitely like a Daredevil type, a Matt Murdock type character.
Matt Murdock.
There we go.
There
we go. Took me like a minute. I'm sure someone was screaming at the computer screen.
Yeah.
It's Matt Murdock. So then Joey, he wakes up and is a ton of pain. Also, by the way, Dan, he's just hanging out with Heather now. He's not really that broken up about his dad getting arrested or whatever, because, you know, he got bailed out immediately. Same with Kim. She's bailed out. Kim is back at school now, but everyone hates her because not only did she put Joey in a coma and paralyze him and ruin his life, but also she ruined her chances at the state championship. They ruined her chances at the high school championship. That's what Lisa says, who Lisa no longer a friend. Lisa says she's now on Team Joey and Nikki, which I find to be so funny, and also, like, you're part of the reason Kim's in this mess, you bitch. Like...
Yeah, just, again, Lisa needed to be a character who hated them secretly.
And also, Lisa, by the way, literally says, I'm not hanging out with you anymore because you're canceled, and no one wants to be canceled adjacent. Real line from the movie. So to speed this to a fast conclusion, because I got an eye doctor appointment I got to be at in 20 minutes. Martha also gets arrested for her negligence, and she's like, "What? You already arrested my husband?" And it's like, "Yeah, bitch, you're responsible too." So she gets arrested and bailed out. She gets
arrested later?
Yeah, a few days after they arrest Tim or whatever. And then Dan's parents sit down with their lawyer, who's like this woman character, like a Kim Wexler. And Kim Wexler basically PSAs them, because you know Lifetime always got these PSA
that
scenes.
is a very Kim Wexler thing to do as well, though. So that
who's basically like tells them to like just plead guilty.
Similar to like the cyberbully, like when she goes to the cyberbully support group.
Yeah, same scene.
Yeah, and all the people are like, well, the block button's really useful. Like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. You can do that?
Yeah. They give you all the tools necessary to survive the scenario.
Yeah, so Lifetime movie gives you all the tools to survive you getting arrested for hosting a minor drinking establishment at your party, where someone got in a DUI due to drinking at your establishment. And basically they get PSA'd by Kim Wexler. Flash cuts them in court or whatever. Both of them get sentenced to 3 months in the county jail each, served separately. So dad goes first, and he's in jail for 3 months, and he gets visited by the mom. Also, during this time, they get hit by a crazy civil suit from Joey's parents. And basically, Martha, before she goes to fucking jail, has a conversation with Joey's mom and is like, look, like, we're not going to fight you on the civil suit. We'll just pay you what you want. We'll make it right. We feel horrible that this all happened. However, the dad, Tim, pretty adamant throughout the whole movie until the very end. It's like, oh, we didn't do anything wrong. Like, this is totally ridiculous. So, we had a couple kids over at our house. We didn't really do anything crazy or out of the ordinary. Everyone else is doing it or whatever. And then the mom's like, no, we really fucked up. We really shouldn't have had this party or whatever. And then basically when the dad's like, no, we're going to fight this. We're going to fight the civil suit. And the mom's like, no, we're not going to fight the civil suit. These parents already got to deal with their crippled kid. We're not going to make them have to fight a fucking lawsuit right now. We're doing this or I'm divorcing you. And he's like, oh, what? So he gets out a month later before she goes back to prison, before she goes to jail and spends her time. And she basically has a kind of a heart-to-heart or whatever, and she's like, yeah, we're not gonna get divorced or whatever. We're gonna give them the money they need, and that'll be that. Kim basically meets a mentor figure. She's forced to go to AA, even though she doesn't drink. She's forced to go to AA, and she meets like a mentor character
that
there
does
named
happen,
Ray.
I feel like as part of an agreement.
Yeah, she meets try to like look better to like the judge or whatever. She goes to like AA, meets this mentor character, kind of gives her some like real talk, and some advice on what to do and how to go forward with her life after like fucking it up this bad.
So I'm just thinking about you're canceled and no one wants to be canceled adjacent.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking funny. So basically, Dan is like, Dan appears at a sort of welcome home party for Joey, but Joey's not having it. Joey's like, dude, like, fuck you, bro. Like, you're the reason fucking Kim was a fucking complete fucking belligerent mess. This falls on you too, asshole. I don't want to talk to you. And then Kim finally meets up with Joey and like apologizes to him in earnest. Is like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, you're fucking paralyzed now because I was a fucking idiot. And Joey's like, I get it. So I've had a long time to sit with this now. It's like, I forgive you.
Is that a pun?
No.
We end the episode there.
Yes. So yeah, spoilers to the end of the movie. Kim goes to her sentencing. But Joey, Nikki, and Dan all come to support her. So Joey, the guy she fucking hit, comes to support her during her sentencing. She gives sort of some final words before she's sentenced. Basically saying she's sorry and that she fucked up and that was dumb. The judge gives her some leniency, especially since, you know, the fucking victim showed up to support her. So she's like, all right, well, there are some mandatory minimums for this shit. So she gets sentenced to 1 year in county jail, $2,000 fine, 5 years probation, and 200 hours of community service.
I'm just thinking of the JonTron, like, 10 generations of, 17 lethal injections, 107-year sentence, 10 generations of familial shaming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what she gets. So, and she gets out in 8 months on good behavior. There's literally one scene of her being like, kind of like this, very like aloof in a jail cell, and like the orange jumpsuit get up. She's like,
it's no Baby
like
Driver where we see Baby like cleaning and serving.
But
like,
that's like a montage. We just get one scene, and then it says 8 months later, and she gets out. She meets up with her mom or whatever. They hug. Everything's nice. And then Kim and Martha give a Moms Against Drunk Driving. They're giving like a speech at Moms Against Drunk Driving, which also appeared earlier in the movie. I skipped over that scene. And they give another shit PSA, Lifetime movie, where it's like, the movie ends where it's like, every 90 seconds, someone gets in a drunk driving accident, and that most DUIs are caused by underage drinking, and that most minors get alcohol from their parents. More than 5,000 people die from underage drunk drivers. If you think it can't happen to you, you're wrong!
It's just like,
the numbers don't lie. Also, they literally say that. They literally say the line verbatim. The numbers don't lie. So how about that, Samoa Joe?
Googling, like the writer's just in the room. Drunk driving statistics.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the numbers don't lie. It can happen to you. Everyone claps. Credits theme reprise of the opening. Do, do, do. As it just plays generic white text over black background, flashing credits. Not even a scroll, you know, just ones where they flash on screen and flash off.
They need a Where Are They Now app blog for this movie.
Oh my god, yeah. So Lisa, no consequences for her action. Dan doesn't face any consequences for his actions. He's still going to Stanford. He didn't lose his scholarship or anything due to his parents' antics. They don't mention that. No, completely dropped thing.
That's like a JoJo Part 6. Like, he's part of a conspiracy. like how Jolene forgives Romeo.
Yeah, it's fucking goofy. But yeah, that's drunk driving at 17 miles. What'd you think before we sign off?
I think I need a drink.